Hello everyone, my name is Misty Hayes. I am your instructor for this course, ECED 2360. So this is Early Childhood Education 2360, which is the development of exceptional children. I'm so excited to have you this semester. I wanted to come on here and make a video just so you could see what I look like, but also talk to you a little bit about our field work for this course. So as you see here, in this section, when you log into Tennessee Campus with your username and password, you're going to automatically see this message come up. So this is something that all students have to do. In order to be counted for attendance, you need to complete the student participation survey. So that's just making sure your attendance is counting, and it lets them know that you are attending my class and all your courses. So for each course, you'll have to make sure you do the student participation survey so we can count you as attending. So make sure you do that. But you're going to come down here and click into our course, the 2360. Again, you'll see it reminds you they have to be done and completed by Monday, September 4th. So otherwise, they're going to report you as not attending. So make sure you do that. It's very important. On the welcome page, hopefully you guys have had time to go in and look at everything and read. This is my office phone number. I actually am an instructor at Walters State Community College. I know we're from everywhere, but as I've been reading your introduction video, your introduction discussion board, so you'll see that you can contact me here. I'm also available to meet with you via Teams should we need to talk about anything. So don't feel like you can't contact me. Obviously, we have email. My office phone is here. Also, we can meet on Teams if we need to as well. So this, if you call my office and I don't answer, I'm either in a meeting or on a call or meeting with a student. So just leave me a message with your name, what class it is, and then a good number where I can get back to you, and I'll give you a call back. Okay, so this just tells you a little bit about the course, how it works, the welcome message. So make sure you read that if you haven't this week. So if you're not familiar and you haven't used Tennessee Campus before and you're new to it, these top tabs here are really to navigate through this D2L learning system. So you have your content, your calendar, your discussion boards, your quizzes, your assignments. You have grades. This, of course, will be where you go to take your participation survey for your attendance counting. There's also the class list. This is where you can email me and other students should you need to. And then there is a more button, which kind of just like, yours will be a little different than mine, but you may have a section where it gives you like help. If you'll notice the top here, the waffle board, that is where all your courses are. So if you were to click in it, it's going to drop down with a menu with all the courses you're enrolled in. You may just have one because you might just be taking this one class through Tennessee Campus, and then you're taking the others at your home school. If you see a little notification, that means there's an alert to the class. That could be a message I could have responded to something. Another classmate could have responded to your discussion board. You could have gotten a grade release. So just make sure you pay attention to these notification bells. And then if you have incoming mail from me or a classmate, it will show up there. So just pay attention to that. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going through this. I want you to play around with it. It may be similar to the D2L system that your home college uses. If you do need help and you struggle, you can always reach out to me or IET, and they'll be able to help you. Okay, so what I'm going to spend my time talking to you about is I'm going to first talk to you about the Module 1 getting started. Hopefully by now, most of you have read and went through the entire Module 1 getting started. This is very important. If you haven't done this, please do this. This gives you our course expectations. Our syllabus is there, which is very important, so you'll understand what my expectations are of you as a student in this class. And then you'll have 2 lessons, okay? So this will follow the same format throughout all the modules. So Lesson 1.1 is going to be the class structure and organization, like what are objectives for this module, beginning with the syllabus and reading that, the modules, how are they laid out, what kind of textbook do you need, and other resources that we use that are there to supplement you and to provide assistance and give you other aid. How do I grade you? The course homepage and how I put messages on there and how you utilize it, and then other technical requirements for the course. Lesson 1.2, is something that you also need to be mindful of. So this is how you're going to participate in class activities and how it's going to be laid out and what I expect for that. So the class schedule is really important. I would download it. It will tell you how we are going to break down each module and the due dates of the assignments. So make sure you utilize that. The next one is communication, how I'm going to communicate with you throughout this course. How do we do discussions, case study projects, what they are. And as we get into the modules, I will definitely talk more about that. So don't get anxious about it. We'll talk more about that, but that's something I do want you to read over. Our field work is what we're going to be talking about today. Okay, so please be sure to look at that. And then quizzes, how do we implement them? When do you have them? How many of them? What are they worth? And then what do you do next? So that's going to be what's going to happen after you get done with the first module, which is getting started. Okay, so I want to turn your attention to the left side. These are table of contents. This is how you navigate through the course. This is how you'll navigate through the content. These tabs are how you navigate through the course. But this is going to give you all of the content in which we will be working on this semester. So I wanted to just stay under Module 1. So if you ever need help and you have to refer back to your field work, always look under Module 1 because it'll be right underneath it. So inclusive practices, field work, and then we're going to have videos. So as you notice, it says it begins on August 21st, which means that throughout the semester, you can go ahead and get started on that. So I'm going to click in the field work first. Okay, so this is actually considered a key assessment for this class and in this program. So we want you to be able to have experience of working with children, early childhood, like toddlers, we have primary, and then we have preschool children. But for this inclusive fieldwork practice, you are actually not going to be going into an educational setting, an early childhood setting. You are going to be watching some videos, and the reason we're having you do that is because these videos are going to serve you well in terms of seeing different age levels, different groups, different children with different disabilities in different settings, right? So you'll have one for toddler and infants, you'll have one for preschool and one for primary. So this really gives you a broader spectrum, something that wouldn't happen if we were to put you in a setting. So just keep that in mind. We do have the videos listed for you, and we'll talk through that. You are not only going to watch it, but as you watch it, you will have some guiding questions that's really going to help you reflect on what you're seeing. And we tell students, watch the videos multiple times, right? Because as you watch it the first time, we want you just to kind of sit back and watch and think about what's happening. And then the second time you watch them is really going to allow you to start reflecting on what you're seeing and help you with those guiding questions. Okay, so we have to think about when we're watching these videos, what does inclusion mean to you and what does it look like as a future professional, right? And that's going to be the main focus of your reflection paper. Now, this key assessment is addressing all the new NAEYC standards. So we do have new NAEY standards this year, so we have made it where this key assessment is aligned with our new standards. So please read through and look at those. Now, I have laid instructions. I'm not going to read word for word for the sole purpose of this video. We have to keep in mind the length of the video, but we're going to walk through some important parts of it. But you are to read this, please. And also, if you have questions, even after reading it and watching the video, please contact me. So this is more like an observation assignment, right? We're going to be looking at the videos, but this practice, fieldwork practice, is based on the contents of Universal Design for Learning in early childhood environments, okay? So when you're watching these videos, you're going to see interactions between teaching and supporting children that have special needs, right? So you're going to look at and experience lots of different kinds of inclusion with children with disabilities. Okay, and it's going to be different age groups. So there's a diverse group of children. So to complete this field work, you're going to be watching videos, okay? And when you're watching the videos, you're going to see there's 3 different age levels. You have toddler, preschool, and primary K3. So with preschool, there are 3 options. Toddler, there's only 1 video, and primary K3, you'll have 3 options. But you're only going to view 2 of the preschool and 2 of the primary K3. I've had students in my group, in my course, watch all of them, and you're more than happy to, because I think it's a great idea. But when you're doing your reflection and your guiding questions, you're really only going to be referring to 2 grade levels, 2 students for each grade level, excuse me. And as you're going through it, you're going to be taking notes, and you're going to be using the Universal Design for Learning checklist. And this is really going to help provide that guidance for you. That's going to determine the effectiveness of your writing. It's going to determine the effectiveness of the inclusive practices, right? So we're going to be looking at practices of engagement and individualized instruction supports. We're going to be looking at positive and supportive practitioner-child relationships and interactions between them, partnerships with families and professionals. So these are all things that are based on the Universal Design for checklist. So I want you to reflect on all these different types. So you're going to see here, I went ahead and listed the different sections. So this is going to be the section of your paper. So your reflection paper, will have 5 sections, and you're going to label them in the format listed here. Those ones I just talked about. So when you're looking at the videos, you're looking at engagement, individualized instruction supports. You're going to be looking at observing the use of UDL, or Universal Design of Learning Principles, which are supporting learning environments. You're going to be looking at positive and supportive practitioner-child relationship interactions, partnerships with families and professionals, and then you're going to conclude it with your reflection and your perspectives. So when we're talking about practitioner and child, the reason we put that word practitioner is because, number one, we're aligning with UDL principles. We are aligning with the NAEY standards. And we have to realize that whenever we are working with children, it's not only going to be the teacher, right? You have different teachers in there. You may have different support staff. You maybe have a professional in there. So we use the term practitioners. Now, you'll see there are different sections, and each section, it kind of defines for you what does it mean by engagement, individualized instruction support. How is it defined? What are those strategies included? So I'll give you some examples. For this, it's talking about engaging in conversation. Is there effective questioning? Is there selection of specific materials that's going to help support that child? How are the activities designed? What does the embedded instruction look like? Are the educators identifying what the child's strengths are, their preferences? Is the child engaged and interested in it? Is there a lot of active learning going on? So these are the things that we're talking about when we say engagement, right? So we're giving you examples in each section. And then, of course, we're giving you those support questions to guide you that's going to help you with your paper. And you're going to use these while you're watching the video. So be sure to include examples. So when you're writing, refer to the video. Refer to, okay, in the toddler video, so-and-so, whatever the child's name, or in the primary video, so-and-so, whatever the child's name is. And you're going to help use that as an example. And remember, you're going to refer to multiple videos. Okay? So there's a minimum of 2 that you have to refer and talk about within your paper. So at least 2 the age ranges, toddler, preschool, and primary. Okay? And there's a rubric here to help guide you as well. And then it's going to follow the same format. So section 2 is observing the use of UDL principles to support learning environments. Okay, so this is going to be looking at classroom rules and behavior expectations. Okay, so when we look at the environment, we're looking at both indoor and outdoor. So when they go outside as well. Scheduling, routines, how are they communicating not only with practitioners and children, but peers. Social interactions, if those things are getting taught. So we have all these different kinds of things we want you to look at. We're looking at the physical environment, the social, the temporal, and all these things are in the UDL checklist. So this section is very important as well. So as you're going through these videos, my advice to you is to take notes. Have this with you beside you. Make notes, see if you're seeing these things. Have the UDL checklist beside of you as well. Now, I've been talking a lot about that UDL checklist. There is the link there for you. Okay, so make sure you have that pulled up while you're watching videos to see if you're seeing that, as well as these questions that are guiding you. Take some notes. This is really going to help you on your reflection paper. And think about this as if you, I know you're not going into the classroom, but think about if you were in the classroom and you were watching these things unfold. Think of it in those terms. Okay, so we talked about the UDL checklist having different types of environment, right? So we've got the physical environment, like how the room is laid out, how are these learning centers displayed, what kind of furniture do they have in there, where do they place the materials, where do they place the furniture? Think about the visual aspect, lighting, sound, materials, all those things. These are the guiding questions. Then the next part of UDL, we're talking about the social environment. So remember, this section's pretty large, so keep that in mind as well. The social environment, we're thinking about the peer interaction, teacher to student interaction. How are the children interacting with the materials, the space? How is family involvement? Are family members allowed in this space? How are they providing that interaction and social support for the child? And then you have your guided questions as well. Temporal environment, we have to think about more of the routines, right? And the activities and how are they strategically placed throughout the day? How are they varied to support that child, different levels that they're using? Do they plan the transition that student may need help with transitions? Or if you have a child that maybe transition is very difficult for them, how are they supporting that child? Thinking about those routines, are they teaching them, their schedules? And then you have the questions. Now remember, make sure you refer back to which child, which age group are you referring to when you're writing these and answering these questions. So remember, we have 3 different age levels that you're watching and observing in these videos, but you have to pick at least 2. The only one that won't have 2 is the toddler, so everyone has to choose that one. But in the preschool and primary, I give you 3 videos, but you're going to pick 2 of them, okay? The third section is positive and supportive practitioner-child relationship interactions, right? So we're looking at, are you helping support that child and making them more confident? What are your approaches to learning? How is your social moral atmosphere in your classroom? Do you see caring relationships, that are being developed? So we have to look at when we're developing those skills for the child, we don't only want to concentrate academic. We want to make sure that we're helping and support them to be more confident learners and having strong relationships and supporting them correctly. And in the questions, you'll see I give you a lot of examples, right, of what that looks like when I'm asking you those questions. And again, make sure you refer to at least 2 children in those age level range. The next one is going to be your partnership with families and professionals. So we have to look at if we're cooperating with a family, if we're interacting with a family, engaged with them, and then I have questions there for you as well. The last section of your paper is really going to be your personal reflection, right? So you're going to be looking at what you're seeing, all the questions you've answered, and you're going to look at these guiding questions when you are doing your reflection. And remember, you're going to look at the UDL checklist. Now that you have a better understanding of what inclusive practices are in the environments, you're going to compare your understanding between when you first started then now. Okay? And think about how this implicates your future thinking and behaviors as a teacher. And what influences your decisions to work? And is it going to after seeing these? And you really discuss your understanding of inclusion and how these videos impacted you. And make sure that you use multiple sources from the video and your knowledge and the UDL checklist to kind of justify the strengths and challenges within inclusive classrooms. Okay, so I put some overview of what I want you to do. Read the instructions very carefully. Here's your grading rubric. So this is how I'm going to be grading you. Okay? And you'll see the grading rubric is tied to our key assessment, our NAEYC standards that we follow. So all this is linked, it's all aligned. And in each grading rubric section, I went ahead and put a criteria for it. So these are the things I'm looking for, and I want you to read them. Below meets and exceeds expectations. So you'll notice that I put in here, so if you go to meets expectations, it tells you what I'm expecting you to do in your paper. But then exceeds, you're going to do all of this plus this, right? You're going a step further than what you should. So just keep that in mind, and it's all laid out that way. I expect this, and this, if you provide, is exceeding expectations, okay? So that is your rubric. So that's the second thing you need to do. Then you're going to download the UDL checklist, which is up here. I did link it for you in blue. So you'll click on that, and you will read through it. And you will have it throughout the observations as you're watching them. So you're going to watch the videos and make sure you're taking notes. That's why we say have the UDL checklist there with you. And then you're going to write your paper, and your paper is used by these guiding questions that we provided for you. So make sure you're thorough, and do not forget to refer to more than one video. The only one that you won't have to use two for will be the toddler, but that's just because there's only one toddler video there for you to watch, and everyone has to watch that one. Always refer back to your rubric for guidance, okay, because that's telling you what I'm expecting from this fieldwork practice. So this would be the same expectations if you were out in the classroom. The only difference is you're getting to see multiple settings that you otherwise would not if you were in one setting. Okay, so your paper should be formatted with these sections as I listed above for you. So these will be your sections of your paper. And then make sure that you save it in Word. Okay, so I've had people ask me in the past about grammar. Obviously, that you were in college, so I do want you to think about college writing, spelling, grammar, those things. I know this is not English comp, so I'm not expecting to take off for every little thing, but I do expect it to be complete sentences, and I do expect you to have all the material. So please look at the grading rubric, because this is really going to help you see how I'm going to be grading this. Now, for the videos, if you go back to the table of contents, on the left side, you will see underneath Module 1, you have the Inclusive Practices Fieldwork, which is where we just were, and underneath is the videos. They are available, so you'll have to click on them. But you're going to see there will be links in here to all the videos which I was referring to in the assignment. Okay, so you have your one toddler there, then you'll have your 3 preschool and your 3 primary. Okay, so you will have to always do this one Okay, everyone will watch that, but then you get a choice of two. Well, there's three offered for you, but you get to pick two of them for preschool, and then of the three for primary, you'll pick two as well. As always, as you're going through this, if you have trouble or you need some more clarification, please do not hesitate to reach out. I would go ahead and get started kind of printing this out, saving it, downloading it, and email me questions right away. You do have a certain timeline that it is due, okay? So remember, we have our schedule here that's going to walk you through, and it tells you the timeline and when everything is due for this course, as well as the field work. So if you just click on the link there, it'll bring you to our timeline. Okay, so if you'll look down in Module 6, November 5th is when this is due. So you do have time. If you were to start watching them soon, you can watch them multiple times and have time to work on one section at a time so you don't become overwhelmed, because there are 5 sections that you have to include in this project. So this is a little more than just writing a paper, so just keep that in mind. So pace yourself, give yourself plenty of time to watch it multiple times, because you will have to in order to answer all those guiding questions, as well as completing your reflection paper on the observation. Okay guys, that's it for this video. I know it was really long. They all won't be this long. The next one you will see will be next week, and that will be for the Module 2 that we'll get in. And every module is 2 weeks long. So every couple weeks you'll have a video kind of walking through what we're doing, what I expect, and kind of going over some of the content a little bit more in depth to assist you and guide you. All right guys, until next time, take care.